Hi, this is Ezekiel Chew, founder of Forex Mentor. So in this video, I'll be revealing what I do on a weekly basis, and I'll be sharing my analysis for this week, which is the 11th of January 2016. So, let me continue first. Right. So you can refer to this video throughout the week to spot for trade setups. The analysis in this video will be my trading plan for the weeks or the coming weeks. So in my weekly analysis video, I'll be sharing pairs that have a possible setup for the week or pairs that are worth taking note. Right. So after my video on last Monday itself, it was a crazy week, right? It was one heck of a crazy week. The entire market plummeted down after our right after my video, and then indeed it was a good week based on our analysis last week. So let me just run through a little bit of what we have gone through. So this is CADJPY. This was what I covered, I think 3 weeks back, where I mentioned after breaking out here was a sideways consolidation, and after breaking the lower point over here, the market will naturally break down and head its way downwards. So indeed it is it went down nicely, right? And then here was a last week crazy, but in fact a lot of pairs last week from a big long red bar, big long bearish bar last week itself. So if based on this pair itself, right now the market has broken through the consolidation over here, my white lines and orange lines for this pair CADJPY, and it is now indeed in a downtrend on its way downwards. So the area where it might probably stop a while would be the lows here. Yeah, the lows here. Here's the lows and some of the lows here. So there is still some room, quite some room for this to run. So for the CADJPY pair itself, the overall sentiment for now, it's still bearish, and I'll be looking for a bearish trade to take in the lower time frame itself. Yeah. So next pair, GBPJPY. So this was another pair that I talked about last week itself. So in fact it went down even more than what I've expected because of last week crazy bearish market itself. So we spotted a breakout over here. I mentioned that here was the area of a stoppage, and price came down, stopped a while, and eventually broke through all through the entire levels over here. So overall it is really a nice bearish trade itself. And let's see. Yeah, that's the reason why price is kind of stalling over here. We can see the lows over here. So it's probably going to stall a while, but the overall sentiment for this pair is still bearish. Next pair, Euro Yen. So Euro Yen, this was pair where I talked about last week, where I say it will most likely head down towards the 365. And it did more than that again. It went down to 365, my white line over here, my 365, and it also went down all the way towards the bottom of the Bollinger Band, and that's the next rejection area, and also where the previous lows are. So yeah, the previous lows are over here, kind of over here. Yeah, so that's the reason why price is stalling here, which is of no surprise. If price do break, so what we can do is, let me just make this bigger, and I'll plot the line over here. Yeah. Lowest point, the lowest over here. So price is now going towards the lowest point for first time, second time, third time. If price do breaks through over here, if we zoom out, there is a lot of room for this to go downwards. So once price has broken through this crucial level, I'll be looking for opportunities, yeah, to short it downwards. Okay, next pair, USD CAD. So USD CAD was also a pair where I talked about last week, where most likely once it starts heading up, it will break through and heads up higher. So it did went up even more. So overall pair, I would say for this entire year itself and last year itself, the Canadian USD Canadian is an extremely bad pair to pair against the USD, and then it should it is one of the weakest pair to pair against the USD. So it market wise, it still has quite some room for it to run. USD Canadian has been a pair where we have talked about late last year itself about its nice uptrend, and we have caught several opportunities along the way for this pair itself. So overall sentiment for USD CAD still bullish. GBP CAD. So GBP CAD was a pair whereby we talked about last week itself. Price came down, met the previous rejection level, and then bounced up. And then right after we talked, it formed a pin bar over here. It headed up, and then it formed right now. It kind of formed two pin bars also. So what I can note is it is now rebounding off a rejection level. So it's kind of in a right now. It's still pretty much in a sideways zone. I would depict it as I'll plot this as the highest level over here. So here was the top. Here's the top of the pin bar for this green bar itself. If price do go up and closes above the highest of the pin bar, then most likely it will head up and towards the Bollinger Band itself. Other than that, it's still pretty much in the sideways congestion. And then so what I can say is price is now in between this the top rate level over here and the bottom rate level. If price goes down, it's going to get rejected by this level again, and when price comes down, most likely this Bollinger Band will also head up, and here will be a crucial rejection level. If does breaks through, then the next 3-4 stop will be the orange line, as what we can see over here itself. Yeah, so here these two areas would be my crucial area to mark. Other than that, for this pair now itself, it is pretty much sideways. Euro GBP. So Euro GBP, I talked about this last week itself. We talk about, so if we talk about the weekly time frame, we talk about here was the first time, second time, and I did talk about when price goes up towards this level once again for a third time, good chance is going to break it up already. So, and price indeed broke up last Friday itself, yeah, and form a nice breakout above the highest point. So it's most likely going to go back now to test the area again to see if it holds. And if this area holds well without price breaking through and closing below, if it holds well, then this will be a nice upwards movement for Euro GBP, and then next stop would be the 150. Okay, so next pair, Euro GBP. We talked about this last week itself. I mentioned that the previous week was a nice closure below my red line, so it is nice confirmation that price is going to go down towards the lowest point, and it did. And it also did more than that. It closed below my lowest point, which is my red line, and has also closed below the Bollinger Band itself. So it was a nice closure below the two lowest point. So it is a strong bearish sentiment for the GBP USD itself. If I look on monthly time frame, yeah. So let's see here. So here was the lowest point. So I did mention once price breaks through here, is going to go down to the next lowest point. And last week itself, it did close below the lowest point. So overall, GBP USD is still probably going to go down further. Next stop will be the lows that we can see over here itself. Alright, so I kept the best for the last. It is the stock market itself, right? S&P 500. This was the one where I mentioned was the big money maker in probably 2016. So last Monday itself, when we talked, the market was kind of over here. So I did mention that when price breaks through the middle Bollinger Band, is going to hit down to over here, and so here was the first confirmation. Once it's broke through here, this is going to reject a while, yeah, and it did. And after which, market fell right off after which. So congrats on those who have capitalized on the big downtrend over here. And its price is going to stall a while over here, as you can see, which is because of the Bollinger Band over here. But overall, the sentiment for the stock market ain't that good. Who knows? Alright, it all depends on what will happen this week itself. Last week was a major wreckage, and then if we go on to the weekly time frame, what we can note is that, yeah, so all this while I mentioned that price is being held by the Bollinger and the 150 itself. Last week itself, it formed a nice long red bearish bar, and it closed below the Bollinger. So more likely than not, this week itself is going to go down to try the 150 itself, or even all the way towards the lowest point itself. So here was the first low, here was the second low. So this week itself, it's probably going to go down and try these two areas. And if it does, we should more or less see some rejection over here. And then it is going to be what happens next. If price do manage to break through after the third try downwards, yeah, it is going to be a very strong indication of a downtrend for the entire stock market itself, especially the S&P, Dow Jones, and etc. Yeah, so this will be a week to look out for. But one thing we can note is that, right, based on the past history of the S&P, every time we form a long bearish bar, the next bar do go down, but retraces back up. So the same happened over here. It formed a nice long red bar. The next bar went down and then retraces back up. So now we form a nice long red bar. So good chance, all right, I'm saying based on past history itself, it's probably going to go down to over here, and it's probably going to head up and rest around over here, because it's pretty obvious that here is a very strong rejection area. So we can expect something over here. We are going to expect some rejection level over here. So if it is what happens after after this, can it eventually break through after the third try? Yeah. So overall sentiment for the stock market itself is pretty much bearish. I'm still very bearish on this, and I'm still looking for opportunities to go down on this as well. Okay, so yeah, that's the analysis for this week, and I'll see you all next week.